How can time have a shadow? You can't see time, right?
You think he was talking about a clock tower?
Look, when that sun goes behind that tower, it casts its shadow over the box. They call it the saha, which literally means the watch. The locals call it time, the time tower. How could he have known, man? How did he know 1400 years ago? How did he know that he said, soon the Bedouins of our people? Look at the deserts of Arabia 67 years ago. Is this fucking sand there? Today, the biggest skyscrapers in the world, where are they?
Dubai.
That's right. He said, soon the time will come where the Bedouins of our people will compete with one another to build buildings that touch the sky. These are his exact fucking words, not, oh, I'm guessing. He says one will build one and then the other one will say, I can build one bigger than you.
What year was this again? 600?
This is in the 600s.
Yeah.
We're talking, this started 40 years ago over there. How did the Prophet Muhammad know if he wasn't from divine influence? I dare people to research the signs of the end of the world in Islam. I fucking dare you to. How did he know about this?
I mean, you think it's that much of a stretch to be able to predict that people would build skyscraper towers?
Yeah, but think about it. He said from their people, not anyone else. They were a fucking joke before he came. They were like a forgotten civilization.
Well, maybe he was just talking about people in general.
And he said the Bedouins, and he described how they're going to boast. And think about it. That's what they're doing. They're having a race between each other to build skyscrapers. I'm going to build, oh yeah, Saudi Arabia, we're going to build one bigger than you. It's exactly what he said. He said, soon the time will come where a man becomes a woman and a woman becomes a man. And they will dress like one another. The family unit will be destroyed and the bastards will take over. Bastard children. Children born out of wedlock, they will be so full of rage, they will destroy all those that are around them. That's the fucking country we're in right now. The bastard generation. You said that on my first time with you, but I was right about it. The bastard generation, 90% out of wedlock. These children are full of rage. They commit 90% of violent crime because they don't have a father. Because their mother didn't want them. They were conceived with no love. Therefore, they show no love to the world. They were conceived out of deadly sins, and that's why all we have from them is death and chaos. This is the bastard generation. He predicted that also. He said that the war of all wars would start over the Euphrates River. Now, it hasn't happened yet, but that's the footwork. Syria, Iraq, Iran, Turkey. That's the Euphrates. He said a war will start there that will engulf the whole entire world. It'll be basically Armageddon. Basically Armageddon, that supposedly there's something under that river, under the Euphrates River, that the whole entire world's going to fight over. Maybe they already know, man. Maybe that's what this is all about. Maybe these powers that be already know. Maybe they read the prophecy and they went to go see what's under that river. What is under that river of the Euphrates? This is also in the Bible, by the way, that when the Euphrates River runs dry, there's end of the world stuff. What I have a problem with is the attack of the character of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, because you got to remember, you have the Quran and then you have Hadith. Hadith are what people think the Prophet Muhammad said. I heard him say this. I heard him say that. And some of those Hadith, his wife is the author of most of them. You know, a lot of them. The Prophet's wife that they always accuse him of being underage with her and all that stuff, because I'm avoiding certain words for, you know why.
Sorry, we can censor it.
So they accuse him of being a pedo. Well, I would say if he's a pedo, then all of Europe, all of America should shut their mouths.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you why. Pull it up, maestro. Pull up marriageable age in the USA, my brother. And I want you to read this now. Go scroll down. Now, this is up on Wikipedia, but you can do your homework because most of you don't. You want Danny to do all the work for you, and he does a phenomenal job, folks.
Thank you.
Scroll down. Okay, I don't know if this is what I told you to pull up. Go back up. Did you leave the ones I told you or no? Okay, yeah, go down. Marriage age in the U.S. Here, let's start here.
There we go.
Let's start here.
Colonial
Start at
America.
age of consent. Start at age of consent. Let people go do their homework.
In 1275, in England, as part of a law, the Statute of Westminster, in 1275, it was a misdemeanor to ravish a maiden within age whether with or without her consent. The phrase within age was interpreted by jurist Sir Edward Coke to mean the age of marriage, which at the time was 12 years old.
Okay, 12 years old. Now we're going to go down deeper into this. So 1275 is almost 600 years after the prophet, and they consider this a normal age to have intercourse. But go down. It gets
To ravage a maid?
Go down even more. Start right there. Actually, go down a little more. Okay. Age of consent here in the U.S. Go down.
In Delaware, the age of consent was 10.
10 at 1871. Now stop. Pause there for a second. 1871, Danny.
71.
Okay. 1,300 years after the life of the prophet, peace be upon him. And they said, no, that's too old. No, 10 is too old. We got to lower that to 7. I don't know if that's because it's Joe Biden's home state. I don't know.
Almost 100 years after America became a thing.
Okay. And they want to go now and try to prejudge. And not in context. So let me give the context.
Wait. Until 1871 when it was lowered to 7 years.
Yes, that's why it's Joe Biden's home state, bro.
What?
Delaware, man.
There's a lot of
great
a lot of people's home state. A lot of politicians.
Let's zoom out, Maestro. Continue down. 37 states. 1880. We're talking about 1,300, almost 1,300 years after the life of the Prophet Muhammad. 37 states set the age of consent at 10 years old. 10 states set the age to 12 and back and forth and so on and so forth. Okay? Hold that now. Let's go to the next one now. Pull up the royals in Europe. Let's pull it. This is America.
Yeah.
Okay, the age of consent was just changed a few years ago in New York. I think it was like 13, and they just officially changed it. Okay?
How long ago did they change it?
If I had a daughter and somebody wanted to marry her at 10, I would bury them alive.
Right.
I'm not defending in that aspect, but we need to put things into historical context. And we can't just point and say, oh, you Arabs, oh, you Middle Easterners, oh, your prophet this and you this. When let's look at Europe, man. These are the royals. People still love the royal
Look at Mary,
families.
bro. Mary was 12. She had not only was she married, she was impregnated. She was cosmically impregnated
by the father. So was the father a pedo?
Probably.
But they don't have a problem attacking Muslims and creating Islamophobia and creating hatred. If we look at their ancestors, this is all of Europe. 15 years old, 13 years old, 12 years old. They were marrying. Now, there's a difference between being engaged, Danny, and consummating the marriage. They were consummating these marriages, bro. 8 years old to a 30-year-old. Look at Cecile of France. Okay?
Where's Cecile of France?
Right there, 12th century.
Oh, it's 12th century.
Okay.
8 to 9 was married.
Yeah, okay. All right, so look in the mirror.
Yeah, it's the stuff's ubiquitous.
Yes,
the stuff's ubiquitous.
Yes, because the rule of the world, up until about 100 years ago, really until feminism, right? Until their movement, women's movement.
Child trafficking was also ubiquitous back then too. Not only was marrying kids really young and then like doing like sexual stuff with children like right after they hit puberty. I think the law in like ancient Rome was like if there was some sort of abuse of an underage kid, underage, they defined by prepubescent, it wasn't even like, you don't even get in trouble. It was only like a civil lawsuit. I could, if there was damages, I could sue you or whatever.
These are centuries and centuries of the royals, princes, you name it, throughout all of Europe.
Oh my God.
Throughout of all of Europe, yet most of the people that come from
8 or 9 Elizabeth of Cumin.
Okay, a Christian background here in the US, go look at your grandparents, your great-great-grandparents, man. They were pedos. Bro. They were pedos. And you guys want to attack what? Now let me set the background of the prophet's marriage. No one knew her age. She wrote hadith. I was around 6. I was around 8. She didn't even know her own age. That's a fact. My grandmother, God rest her soul, born in Albania, they didn't keep documents. She didn't even know her own age, bro. That's a fact. I know Albanians that were engaged in the womb. They were engaged. Doesn't mean they consummated the marriage, but they were engaged. That's just the way the world was.
Right.
Families traded. You have a son, I have a daughter. That's how they kept ties. That's how they kept power. That's throughout the world.
Sure. It still happens today.
If we pull up Asia right now, same thing, but we don't have to. You guys go do your homework. So where am I going with all this?
Yeah, where are you going with this?
First of all, anyone that marries a 10-year-old today should be hung. Okay? I'm not saying it's right, but in context, the rule of the whole world was once a woman had her period, she was of the age she could bear children.
That's just nature.
They didn't keep track with records and this and that.
Yes.
The ancient Arabs, in what is known as the time of ignorance, before the Prophet Muhammad came, it's called Jalaliya, how they say in Arabic. I'm not Arab, but I know some words. It was the time of ignorance. These are people that were burying their daughters alive. They had a rule, the ancient Arabs, before Islam came to them, that if they had a daughter before they had a son, they were not allowed to keep a daughter. They had to have a son first. So they would bury their, literally a couple days old, they would go to the desert and bury that baby. Okay? If I'm not mistaken, you have what do you have kids-wise?
2 boys.
Okay. So you would have been okay to have a girl now. But if you would have had 2 girls before a boy, you would have buried both of them alive. Literally days after they're born. This is before Islam came to them. Women were objects.
They would have identified as males, so they'd be fine.
But you know what I mean. Well, in today's world, they would have got away with it. No, I'm a girl. I'm a girl. You know, I'm a boy. But so, you know, people think they know the history. They listen to a couple blips. They have people like Sam Shuman who does these debates, and I find religious debate harmful. The only reason I'm stepping up to the plate is because
you find it harmful?
I find it harmful because my mission is the opposite. I don't want Muslims and Christians going at it. I'm trying to say, yo, you guys have way more in common than you even want to admit. Clearly just proved it to you with receipts.
Yeah.
Before you attacked the nature. But then they'll say, well, Jesus did it. Well, his mother was pregnant at 12. Let's start there. Let's start there.
Right.
So if you want to be real, let's be real. But if we're going to debate to be harmful and not reach an understanding, I may never believe what you believe as a Christian. And you may never believe what I believe as a Muslim. We even have a verse in the Quran that's called the non-believers.